But I wanted to point this out really quick because this was some of the most weirdest, feminist, nasty agenda I've ever seen put on ESPN.
Did ESPN try to cover something up? Brand new deleted footage unveils Elle Duncan's jaw-dropping response to Caitlin Clark's NBA three-point contest rejection, and it's even more explosive than expected. Although ESPN swiftly removed Duncan's contentious remarks from their YouTube channel, we've got the original footage that exposes the full story.
Now, if you all don't know, there is a silent kind of behind-the-scenes war going on with new people covering the WNBA and old people covering the WNBA. And, you know, a lot of the old WNBA people don't want the new people to be covering the WNBA, right? And going into this, I would definitely say Elle Duncan is a part of the old WNBA coverage team.
The rift between traditional and modern WNBA media coverage has reached a critical tipping point, and Duncan's remarks on Clark's decision could be the most polarizing take this year. Let's unpack what ESPN might be trying to keep under wraps.
Elle Duncan comes in with her disturbing, nasty take of this whole thing. Basically trying to make Caitlin Clark's decision a nasty feminist FU to the NBA. It's ridiculous, man.
The WNBA universe is buzzing right now, and what just unfolded on ESPN's First Take might be one of the most eye-opening moments in recent sports journalism. I'm here to break it all down, because this isn't merely about a removed clip. It's about a long-standing divide in women's basketball coverage. Picture this. ESPN airs a routine First Take segment discussing Caitlin Clark's decision to decline an invitation to the NBA's three-point contest. At first glance, it seems like standard fare, right? But here's the twist. A crucial piece of footage mysteriously vanished when ESPN uploaded the segment to YouTube. Trust me, once you hear what Elle Duncan had to say in that missing clip, you'll understand why this is sparking such intense debate. Stick with me as we uncover the full story.
Just stick with me. This is the original content posted on YouTube. Just stick with me.
Games, and I've seen a lot of games, women's basketball games.
And they competed.
Arike Ogunbowale got MVP. She had a crazy second half. Everyone competed. People are starting to appreciate the women's game for that approach because we understand what's at stake in this moment. And for Caitlin Clark to have the awareness to drive the eyeballs there, you have to give her so much credit for that.
Okay, you saw how it skipped right there? That is where Elle Duncan came in with her crazy, asinine state.
Let's begin with what everyone witnessed. The segment opens as expected with Stephen A. Smith and Chiney Ogwumika discussing Clark's decision. Chiney's insights were nothing short of brilliant. She emphasized the fiercely competitive nature of last year's WNBA All-Star game, underscored the elite level of play in women's basketball, and made her points without alienating anyone. It was a masterclass in championing women's sports while forging connections rather than burning bridges. Then came Elle Duncan's segment, the very part ESPN tried to keep out of the spotlight. I managed to secure the original TV footage, and believe me, it's incredibly revealing. Duncan wasn't just providing commentary, she was pushing what many are calling a concerning and divisive feminist agenda that completely misread the situation.
Caitlin Clark, to have the awareness to drive the eyeballs there, you have to give her so much credit for that.
Then the reason why today, the reason why is because these women know that every opportunity they have on this platform, they have to ball out because they have to completely turn around tropes or ideas or narratives or discourse. Like all of that is always on their shoulders, which is why not only do I think that this move by Caitlin Clark is the right move, I think it's incredibly empowering.
Elle Duncan doesn't stop there. She just goes on and on. You can tell the jealousy is real. This is more than just reporting. It looks like pure hatred to me. let's get right back into it.
Because Stephen A., when we watched that three-point contest last year in the NBA, and we all enjoyed it, and it was so much fun, what did immediately those of us in the W space say? All right, Steph, now return the favor and go do the same thing at the W, right? In years past, for generations past, women had to legitimize being mainstream by being validated in a male space.
Wow, this is truly something. What are your thoughts on this speech so far? Let me know in the comments below. And now let's continue.
And now Caitlin Clark is saying that my power and cachet is not for loan. I am going to go and improve the league that I believe in and care in. And the idea that she said, I'm going to make sure the first three-point contest I participate in will be the W one. She didn't do it last year. Lord knows she was tired and didn't want to, right? Like it took everything she had just to get through that game, and she was fantastic. But I love this, and what I hope it does, listen, Caitlin Clark is a one-of-one in many ways, and we understand that. So not everybody has that ability, that cachet and all that clout to move the needle, to draw those kinds of ratings. But what I hope that it does is empower the next generation, the Paige Beckers, the Juju Watkins behind her, the Hannah.
Duncan's commentary takes an even more controversial turn when she implies that rising stars like Juju Watkins and Hailey Van Lith should mimic Clark by refusing to participate in mainstream male-centered events. This is where the issue deepens. She's essentially promoting a form of segregation in basketball coverage, when what we really need to be focusing on is integration and mutual support.
I'm so tired of it. It just makes no sense to me, and I'm tired that we keep giving it so much energy, and I'm tired of it being people who are not in this circle or space at all who suddenly have all these opinions about how these women need to treat Caitlin Clark. What do you want from them? They want to beat her because she's not on their team. Isn't that how it's supposed to be? Yeah. Y'all stop it. We already know she's transformational. They've all said it. How many times do they gotta say it?
Let's unpack why this perspective is so off the mark. For starters, the NBA and WNBA share a mutually beneficial relationship. The NBA not only helps subsidize the WNBA, but also supplies essential infrastructure, marketing support, and overall momentum to grow women's basketball. With NBA Commissioner Adam Silver standing as one of the league's most vocal advocates, reducing this partnership to a gender war isn't just misguided. It could actually hurt the very league Duncan claims to support. Think back to when Sabrina Ionescu participated in the NBA three-point contest. That event wasn't merely a win for the NBA, it served as a massive boost for the WNBA as well. Ionescu's appearance attracted new fans, spiked Liberty jersey sales, and elevated the profile of the women's game. Yet, according to Duncan's narrative, that move was somehow a bid for male validation. The frustrating part is her complete dismissal of the storied history of WNBA stars, who forged their legacies solely on the strength of women's basketball. While Duncan argues that male validation is necessary for the sport's legitimacy, icons like Maya Moore and Lisa Leslie have long proven that their incredible achievements speak for themselves. What's even more telling is ESPN's decision to remove this segment from their YouTube channel. This action clearly indicates that they recognized how incendiary and potentially damaging Duncan's comments could be. Fortunately, thanks to viewers who recorded the live broadcast, we can examine exactly what was said and have a genuine conversation about it. The timing of this controversy is critical. Women's basketball is in a golden era, with stars like Caitlin Clark drawing record crowds and generating unprecedented excitement. The last thing the sport needs is divisive rhetoric from someone who's supposed to be one of its biggest media advocates.
Cece, one word to describe today.
Only one word. Unreal. That's fire. Honestly, unreal.
When Caitlin Clark stepped back onto the Carver Hawkeye Arena floor, something magical happened. The crowd erupted to 116 decibels during player introductions, louder than even some NFL and NBA games before she even touched the ball. But when Clark launched a 36-foot three-pointer from the exact spot where she broke Kelsey Plum's NCAA scoring record, the arena literally shook. 7 months away from basketball didn't change a thing. Caitlin Clark's homecoming wasn't just a game. It was a statement about what's coming in 2025. In this video, we'll talk about the magical moments you may have missed during the celebrated game. If you're excited about the upcoming season, comment fired up for the Fever down below.
What does it mean to you to be going back to play at Iowa, but this time with your jersey in the rafters?
Yeah, I'm super excited to go back and play at Iowa, obviously a place that has meant a lot to me, and we've had so many amazing games inside that arena, so it'll be fun to be back in front of those fans, and honestly to get to introduce those fans to all my new teammates. And the Indiana Fever I think will be really special because they love supporting all of us. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I know it's gonna be a special day.
What happens when a hometown hero returns after conquering the basketball world? Iowa City gave us the answer, and it was louder than anyone expected. Hours before tip-off, fans lined up outside Carver Hawkeye Arena. They weren't just there for the game. They wanted to see warm-ups to breathe the same air as Caitlin Clark for as long as possible. The line wrapped around the building, people standing in the Mayweather just waiting for doors to open. All this for a preseason game that wouldn't count in any standings.
What are you the most excited to show your teammates around campus?
Ooh. Honestly, I'm most excited to show them how cool Iowa City is. Like, people don't realize how good of a college town that place is. My teammates just expect it to be cornfield, but I'm like, no, it's one of the greatest colleges. So, yeah, downtown Iowa City is where it's at. So we'll give them a little tour, and I'm sure they're going to want to come back.
7 months is a long time in basketball. 7 months away from professional competition made us miss every single moment Clark was on the court. What will she do in her first play? Will she hit a logo 3? Those questions got answered the moment Clark stepped onto the court. The roar was immediate. Not just any cheer. We're talking about noise that hit 116 decibels during player introductions. That's louder than most NFL games. Louder than playoff basketball. All for a player introduction in a preseason game.
Yeah, getting to go back to Iowa, it's so exciting. I obviously haven't really been there much since I left about a year ago. And I think just getting to see people that have supported me throughout my career and continue to support me is gonna be incredible. But also, like, they're the biggest Indiana Fever fans too now. Like, they wanna meet all my teammates. They wanna cheer for my teammates. And I was telling some of the girls this the other day, I'm like, they're gonna go crazy for you too.
This wasn't just any arena for Clark. This was Carver Hawkeye, the place where she became a household name, where she broke records that seemed unbreakable, where she turned women's college basketball into must-see TV. Iowa is now called the epicenter of women's basketball because of Clark. The walls of this building had seen her grow from promising freshman to basketball icon, and the fans, they paid an average of $670 per ticket. That's not regular season prices. That's not playoff prices. That's, I need to be there for a historic moment prices. Some drove hours across state lines, took days off work just to see their hero back on her home court.
Good luck finding affordable tickets for the Indiana Fever preseason game against Brazil at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Seats at the arena for the May 4th matchup between the Indiana Fever and Brazil were first offered to season ticket holders and a few top donors. It didn't take long for them to be gone.
Even Clark's teammates understood the significance. Lexi Hull wore a 22 Iowa jersey during pregame. A beautiful gesture acknowledging this wasn't just another game for her teammate. This was a homecoming.
They're gonna have signs about you. They want your autograph. They want a high five from you. And I think that's what I appreciate about them the most is, like, they wanna cheer not only for myself, but everybody else on this team. And they have so much fun watching us. So now getting to take the Indiana Fever to them and their environment, I was telling Lexi and some of the other girls this other day, is like, this will be the loudest arena you have ever played in. They're gonna scream, they're gonna cheer. When I tell them to get up, they're gonna get up. So it'll be fun to get to go back there since my last time playing there in the NCAA tournament my senior year, so it should be really special.
The emotion hit Clark too. You could see it in her eyes during warm-ups, scanning the familiar arena, now packed to its 15,000 person capacity. This building launched her into basketball immortality. And now, she returned as something even bigger, a professional who had changed the game forever. But this homecoming wasn't just about nostalgia and ceremonies. As Clark took the floor for tip-off, it became clear this night wasn't just symbolic. It was the perfect showcase to prove that her connection to Iowa remained unbroken, and her basketball brilliance had only grown stronger during her time away. The ball went up for the opening tip, and the entire arena leaned forward in their seats. Clark settled into position, and that familiar focus returned to her eyes. No one in that arena could have predicted how perfectly the night would unfold for Clark and her teammates. But they were about to find out, and the journey would start with a shot that would bring the house down.
Clark, pull up three. You bet!
In sports, some moments go beyond just points on a scoreboard. They tell a story all by themselves. Right off the jump, Clark hits the first basket, and you guessed it, a three-pointer. Who knew that was just a warm-up to what would happen later in the game when Caitlin Clark pulled up from 36 feet out in the third quarter at Carver Hawkeye Arena? With 25 seconds left on the clock, she took 3 quick dribbles and launched a shot that wasn't just a basket. It was Clark announcing to everyone that she was back.
The better-looking possessions of the day for Brazil. Here's Clark. Wow! You bet! From beyond the logo! And a little point afterward.
Early in the game, you could see Clark settling into her rhythm. The same confidence, the same court vision that made her a legend at Iowa was still there. Her movements looked familiar to everyone who had watched her dominate college basketball. The passes were crisp, the decisions quick, the smile unmistakable. The Brazil national team was already struggling to keep up with the Fever's offense when Clark crossed half court with that look in her eyes. You know the one where she sees something nobody else does. The defenders backed up, but not far enough. What made this moment even more special? The exact spot on the floor where Clark pulled up wasn't random. It was the very same location where she had broken Kelsey Plum's scoring record during her senior season. History repeating itself in the most perfect way. Now with her new team and under her retired jersey, without a hint of hesitation, Clark launched the ball from way beyond the three-point line. The shot arched high above the defense in that signature trajectory that Hawkeye fans had seen hundreds of times before. The ball swished through the net without touching the rim, adding that extra touch of magic to an already electric moment.
It's like a greatest hits collection of missed layups. I can't even believe this is real. I just stumbled across of it. There's 2 different videos now floating around out there. And it's unbelievable.
Angel Reese just pulled off the biggest bluff in WNBA history. Pay me more or I'm out. The problem? She followed up that bold ultimatum with a performance that had fans scratching their heads, wondering if she was auditioning for a home renovation show instead of playing basketball. It wasn't just a bad night, it was a bricklaying masterpiece. After demanding superstar money on her podcast, Reese hit the court and immediately went 5 for 13 in her next unrivaled game. And if you think that's bad, one of those shots didn't just miss. It slammed into the bottom of the backboard like it was trying to make a quick exit from the gym. The timing couldn't have been worse for her argument, or better for anyone who loves a good laugh.
Because I'm hearing like, yeah, they don't give us, if y'all don't give us what we want, like, we sit out.
That's a possibility.
I guarantee you, the intelligent folks, and there are plenty in the WNBA, are saying, will you two
It's just shut up. Sit out.
Girl, y'all benefited from everything. Y'all youngins benefited from NIL. What does that mean? We deserve more.
So, let's break it down. Have you ever wondered what would happen if a WNBA player threatened to hold the whole league hostage over salary demands? Well, Angel Reese just gave us the answer, and it's pure comedy. On a recent episode of her podcast, Unapologetically Angel, which, let's be real, should be called unintentionally comedic, Reese sat down with her partner in delusion, Carrington, and dropped what might be the most dramatic ultimatum in league history. She didn't just ask for more money, she straight up suggested that if she doesn't get what she wants, she's ready to boycott.
I love how y'all have selective hearing. I said I'm hearing if they don't give us what we want, we sitting out. And that's the truth. Good.
This is the same person that literally said she didn't know what her WNBA salary was and that it didn't even cover her rent.
Yep, you heard that right. Angel Reese, who hasn't proved herself as a WNBA force, thinks she has the leverage to shake the league. But when your argument is pay me more, the last thing you should do is turn in a performance that even league players would cringe at. While Reese was demanding superstar treatment, Caitlin Clark was actually playing like one, breaking records, filling arenas, and making her shots. Reese? Turning layups into blooper reels? So, is the WNBA scared of her boycott threat? Or is Reese just giving fans another laugh?
My expectation is to be one of the best players in the world one day. I wouldn't expect anything less than that.
More history for the Fever rookie.
At this point, continue to be myself, and I think a lot of good will come from that.
The moment Angel Reese hit the court after her bold boycott threat, it was like the basketball gods were having a laugh. If you're demanding superstar money, you better play like one, right? Well, Reese's game film from that night looked more like a tutorial on how not to finish at the rim.
Gets to Sykes, lofts it up. Reese on the cleanup. Power dribble to separate.
Facing off against Aaliyah Boston's Vinyl Basketball Club in the unrivaled league, Reese had the perfect chance to prove she deserved a bigger paycheck. Instead, she put on a clinic and missed layups. We're talking wide open shots, point-blank attempts, and bunnies that didn't just rim out. They smacked off the backboard like someone forgot to adjust her shot meter. The timing of this meltdown couldn't have been worse. Just days after claiming her WNBA salary doesn't even cover one of her bills, she delivered a performance that had fans wondering if the rent was due mid-game. At one point, it almost looked like her teammates stopped passing her the ball, maybe out of secondhand embarrassment.
She just threatened the lockout. If y'all don't give us what we want, we sitting out. This is why sometimes you probably should have somebody look over a podcast. She's threatening to go on strike. I actually understand it's the way negotiations work in the CBA, not on a podcast.
Let's rewind for a second. Reese's rookie contract pays her about $73,000 this year, part of a 4-year, $325,000 deal. Pretty standard for WNBA rookies. But according to Angel, that salary barely covers her basic expenses. She went viral on TikTok complaining that the WNBA doesn't even pay one of my bills, and then casually dropped that she's paying $8,000 per month in rent, adding up to $96,000 a year, which is more than her entire WNBA salary.
I just hope y'all know, the WNBA don't pay my bills at all. I don't even think that pays one of my bills. I'm gonna do the math real quick.
He might cover that. Yeah, it covers that. It definitely covers that.
What is I don't even know my salary.
Look, nobody's saying she can't live the lifestyle she wants, but maybe, just maybe, if your rent alone is more than your entire WNBA salary, the problem isn't the league, it's called budgeting, Angel. But instead of rethinking her approach, Reese doubled down on her boycott threat, jumping on social media to make it clear she wasn't just talking big, she meant it. She's ready to sit out if her financial demands aren't met.
No, my rent is more than that. It's $8,000. I'm living beyond my means.
Here's where it gets even funnier. One of her biggest complaints? That future rookies, like USC's Juju Watkins, might end up making more money than her. Reese said, the ones coming in this year will still be on the rookie contract, but the ones after that, they probably gonna be making more than us. The women coming in, what, not this year, but next year, the ones coming in this year will still be on the rookie contract, but the ones the year after, they gonna get more?
But the women coming in, not this year, but next year. Yeah. The ones coming this year will still be on the rookie contract again. Mm-hmm. The ones the year after, they gonna get more. They probably gonna be making more than us.
That's not injustice, Angel. That's just how professional sports contracts work. She signed a 4-year rookie scale deal. Even if the WNBA negotiates a new CBA that raises rookie salaries, she's still locked into the contract she signed. That's how every league operates. Imagine if every second-year NBA player demanded a raise just because the salary cap went up. Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Like if I'm an NBA owner, I didn't get rich by wasting a couple million on something that has no chance of making money. These two, sit down, see what happens. Now, I would miss watching the Fever. I would miss watching Caitlin Clark, but I wouldn't miss anything else.
And let's not forget, the WNBA still lost around $40 million last season. They're not exactly swimming in NBA-level revenue. The league can't just start ripping up contracts because Angel Reese doesn't like hers anymore.
You lost 40, 50 million. You know who would clap for you all sitting out? The NBA. So they don't have to subsidize your dumbasses to the tune of 40 to 50 million a year.
But let's get back to what really matters: performance. If you're going to demand special treatment, you better play like an all-star. Instead, Reese is out here missing layups like she's trying to test the backboard's durability. So, let's be real. If Angel Reese thinks she's too good for her WNBA contract, maybe she should start proving it on the court. Because right now, the only thing she's leading the league in is missed layups. The numbers tell a completely different story. Angel Reese can talk all she wants about being one of the faces of the WNBA, but when you actually look at the ratings, it's clear the real draw has nothing to do with her. In fact, when she played without Caitlin Clark on the other side of the court, the viewership numbers took a nosedive.
Angel Reese last night, once again, had one of the worst shooting games in the history of planet Earth. For what's supposed to be a big? I mean, what in the hell is going on here? I understand her team won. I get it. 5 of 13 from the field. 13 rebounds, 5 offensive rebounds, only 10 points.
Here's the cold, hard truth. People aren't tuning in to watch Angel Reese miss layups and gripe about her paycheck. No, they're tuning in for real star power, and we all know who that is. Let's be honest here. If Reese was truly the ratings juggernaut she claims to be, wouldn't her games be packed to the rafters? Wouldn't her jersey be flying off the shelves? Wouldn't people be lining up just to get a glimpse of her in action? Instead, it's Caitlin Clark who's dominating the WNBA in attendance, jersey sales, and viewership. Meanwhile, Reese is out here still acting like she's the one driving all the attention to the league, while posting a mere 39% from the field and missing layups that would make a middle school coach facepalm. The numbers don't lie. Clark is the one putting the league on the map, while Reese, well, she's just putting up bricks.
Man, this just went down. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese going at it. More so, Angel Reese going at Caitlin Clark.
Man, this just happened. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese clashed. Mostly Angel Reese targeting Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese believed she could intimidate Caitlin Clark with a confrontation after that third quarter foul. Instead, she unleashed a triple-double beast who went on to dismantle her entire team on national TV.
My goodness gracious. Destroyed the sky in front of a sold-out 17,000+. Fouled Angel Reese. Angel Reese loses her mind, tries to fight Caitlin Clark. It's glorious. The season is back. It is on. A triple-double in the first game back.
When the dust settled at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, the scoreboard showed 93-58 in favor of the Fever. Reese faced a 35-point blowout, while Clark had just made WNBA history once more in the season opener. Talk about instant regret and a plan that spectacularly backfired. The moment that shifted everything began with what seemed like a routine basketball play in the third quarter. The Fever were already leading by double digits, and everything was falling into place for Indiana when Angel Reese grabbed an offensive rebound near the basket after a clear push on Natasha Howard to gain position.
If you guys didn't see, right before that play, Angel Reese had some contact with Natasha Howard. Caitlin Clark saw that contact. She turns to the refs and she's like gesturing to them. And this is all happening very, very quick, you guys. She turns to the refs, she's gesturing to them because she believed that Angel Reese fouled Natasha Howard. Now from that, Angel Reese gets the ball. Caitlin Clark realizes she is about to go up for what seems like a wide open layup. Caitlin Clark runs over and fouls her hard, and Angel Reese falls to the ground.
Caitlin Clark, spotting an easy scoring chance, made a split-second choice to stop Reese from adding 2 easy points to Chicago's total. Clark reached in and made contact with Reese's shoulders and upper body, knocking her to the floor. At first, the refs called it a common foul, something routine in any WNBA game. But then the officials huddled to review the play, and the energy in Gainbridge Fieldhouse instantly shifted. After a lengthy review, the referees upgraded the call to a flagrant foul. The crowd reacted immediately. Booing filled the arena as fans believed their star player was being unfairly targeted. Clark, meanwhile, showed impressive composure. When asked later, she simply said it was a good take, foul with no malicious intent.
Now, basketball 101, if somebody has a wide open layup and you have a foul to give, it is in your best interest to foul that shooter so that they don't get an easy 2 points. And what Caitlin said during an interview with Holly Rowe, she essentially said it was either Angel gets a wide open layup or we send her to the free throw line. It was a basketball play. There was nothing malicious behind it. I just knew I had to foul her hard. And that is exactly what it looked like to me. She went for the ball, she went across her body. Now Angel got tied up in it and she did fall down.
Reese's reaction told a very different story. The instant the call was upgraded, she strode toward Clark with frustration clearly etched on her face. Her body language shouted confrontation, shoulders squared, jaw clenched, eyes locked on Clark. This wasn't just about a foul call. Reese was sending a clear message that she wouldn't be intimidated by the Indiana star.
Angel Reese gets up, Aaliyah Boston shoves her, gives her a little stiffy. Hey, don't come at Caitlin. But look at her, Angel Reese upset. Oh my gosh. Hey man, this was hilarious. Look, Angel Reese was pissed. Look at her, she was still going out there a little bit. Look, took the jersey out. Well, what's going on? Look.
Crew Chief Roy Gabayan later defended the flagrant call in the pool report, saying it wasn't a legitimate basketball play and involved unnecessary contact. But what happened next revealed exactly what kind of team the Fever have become. Aaliyah Boston immediately stepped between Clark and Reese, physically placing herself as a shield to protect her teammate. Boston's intervention earned her a technical foul. Yet that moment made something clear. This Fever team wasn't just Clark's supporting cast. They were a united front, ready to stand together when challenged.
I thought Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark were cool. But I don't know, man. The way Angel got up, she was like, Look at her. Ooh. I mean, she was getting after it, fam. Oh my goodness. Now, the funny thing was Caitlin Clark sniffing, walking away. Hold on, let me see if I can get a good angle. Oh yeah, look. Watch Caitlin Clark's face right here. Watch this.
Meanwhile, the Chicago Sky bench exploded at the confrontation, clearly hoping this moment would disrupt Clark's rhythm and shift momentum their way. Players jumped up, coaches clapped, and for a brief instant, their energy surged as they sensed a chance to claw back into the game. What unfolded during those tense seconds revealed everything about both players. Clark stayed composed, refusing to engage in any back and forth. Reese, meanwhile, seemed bent on making a physical and mental statement. One player was locked on the scoreboard, the other on asserting dominance in their personal duel. This attempt to unsettle Clark would turn out to be a disastrous miscalculation by Reese and the Sky. Instead of intimidating the superstar, Reese had unknowingly ignited a fuse that would blow up in her face over the next 15 minutes of play. The confrontation didn't rattle Clark, it unleashed her.
She came away with 20 points, 4 blocks, that's a career high for her, 2 steals, 10 assists, and 10 rebounds. Like, who are you, Caitlin Clark?
If Angel Reese believed she could intimidate Caitlin Clark, what followed must have felt like a nightmare playing out in real time. The confrontation didn't shake Clark. It turned her into a basketball force the Chicago Sky couldn't counter. Rather than faltering under pressure, Clark raised her game to a whole new level. On the very next possession, after the flagrant foul, she calmly dribbled up the court, signaled for a screen, and sank a three-pointer that sent Gainbridge Fieldhouse into a frenzy. The message was unmistakable: I'm not backing down.
Hey, look, one thing about this Indiana Fever team, you better come correct, man. Because if you try to do anything to anybody, look over your shoulder, man. Look over your shoulder, because somebody is coming with some get back. They are taking up for each other. Even Stephanie White got hot.
With the crowd now fully fired up and behind her, Clark led the Fever offense with surgical precision. She delivered no-look passes to cutters that seemed impossible. She attacked the lane, drawing defenders before kicking out to open teammates. When defenders backed off, she punished them with step-back threes that had fans leaping from their seats. Her stat line started filling up across the board. Clark wasn't just scoring, she grabbed rebounds over taller opponents, blocked shots at the rim, jumped passing lanes for steals, and set up teammates for easy baskets.
Caitlin Clark is back with revenge and not taking any mess. You understand me? Trip dub Caitlin Clark for the first game. Oh my gosh, a blowout win, ridiculous.
The roar inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse swelled with every electrifying moment from Clark. Every basket she sank, every steal she snatched, every relentless hustle play sent the crowd into a frenzy, an unstoppable wave of noise and passion. The energy pulsing through the arena built an overwhelming home court fortress that crushed the Sky spirit more and more with every ticking second.
Now, I thought that hate was too strong of a word at the time. Angel Reese is damn sure jealous of Caitlin Clark. She's got a lot of anger. She has a lot of resentment towards the Great White Hope. But I thought the bitterness was professional. I thought Angel Reese was jealous because Caitlin Clark is a mainstream draw.
What occurs when a WNBA icon shifts from rivalry to hatred? Angel Reese's fiery TikTok has stunned fans and left her future in serious doubt. Could this destroy her career? And why is the league staying silent?
Hey, right there. There's the picture. And Angel Reese did in fact repost this on TikTok, it looks like, and share it. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Or are you kidding me?
The WNBA's silence only intensifies the backlash, leaving fans angry and bewildered. But there may be a hint of justice coming. Rumors indicate Tyler Marsh might be giving Angel Reese a suspension.
But Tyler Marsh, he immediately earned my respect yesterday.
Stay tuned as we dissect what Angel Reese reposted, the rule she might have breached, and why many fans think the league is showing bias. So what exactly did Angel Reese share that's causing such a stir?
Angel Reese reposted this to her TikTok account. I know the image is blurry and filled with grammatical and spelling errors. I'm honestly surprised that whoever posted this originally was able to spell "the" correctly. But the message, it says, "White girl running from the fade."
Angel Reese's TikTok repost spread online like wildfire in a drought. The video featured Caitlin Clark and included the caption, "White girl running from the fade." In sports slang, that phrase means avoiding a fight or confrontation.
I'm assuming, though, that the racial connotation here is that Caitlin Clark is a scared white girl running away from the black woman. When the reality is, Caitlin Clark was just treating Angel Reese just like the rest of the WNBA audience is treating Angel Reese. Caitlin Clark walked away from the fight and treated Angel Reese like an afterthought.
Let's be honest. With Clark's face clearly shown, it seemed like more than simple trash talk. To many fans, it felt overly personal and needlessly aggressive, not just a fun dig between fierce competitors.
Reese or whatever I got told was Angel Reese about the white girl didn't want any of the fade or something like that. I thought it had to be a mistake. Somebody asked me about it and I said, no, surely to God she would not have even Angel Reese surely realizes not to repost something like that, right? Hell, I guess I was wrong.
Under the WNBA's rules, any content inciting violence or hate toward a player breaks the zero-tolerance hate speech policy. Reese's choice to repost the video sparked more than drama. It triggered widespread outrage. The timing made it worse. Clark's profile is soaring, and she's now a major force in women's basketball. But fans sensed animosity, not just competitive banter.
Talking about there's no room for hate, this and that and the other one, and you got a player that's blatantly advocating for violence against far and away your most popular player. All right, and bringing race into the situation.
Comments erupted, accusing Reese of encouraging violence, not spirited competition. One fan said, "This is crossing the line. We want to see rivalry, not threats." Another added, "You're supposed to be a role model, not someone who promotes this behavior."
Mutual respect has been replaced with disdain. And judging by Angel Reese's own TikTok account, it appears that it could be racially motivated.
The backlash didn't end in the comments. A sports podcast analyst said, "This isn't rivalry, it's a direct call for conflict." That response only escalated things. The debate shifted from whether Reese's post was edgy trash talk to whether it promoted something darker. People began to wonder if this was about basketball or something more troubling in the sport. The WNBA's silence made it worse. The league enforces strict social rules. Yet Reese's repost appeared to cross a line. Fans waited for action. None came. But when Fever fans were called out for racism, the league responded fast. That raised questions. Was Reese shielded due to fame? Was the league dodging race to avoid outrage? The silence made things feel more tense and unclear.
Right here, Angel Reese cries about racism that never happened, then goes on and reposts openly racist TikToks. This is why the WNBA is a joke and not only allows but encourages racism against white people.
Speculation spread fast. Some fans believed Reese's fame was protecting her from punishment, while others pointed out the WNBA had acted quickly in past cases. So why not this time? The league's silence spoke volumes, whether planned or not, leading people to wonder if the rules are applied fairly. To add fuel to the fire, even when Outkick's host voiced worries, the WNBA stayed silent.
My boy over at Outkick, Bobby Burack, who's a hell of a good journalist, did reach out to the WNBA. Right here, I asked the WNBA if they had a comment on Angel Reese's racist post on TikTok about Caitlin Clark. The league had no comment, nor would it address Reese suggesting she wants to fight Caitlin Clark. So much for, quote, zero tolerance for hate.
This controversy doesn't just damage Angel Reese's reputation. It shines a harsh light on the entire league. Women's basketball has worked hard to grow its fan base and gain respect. But drama like this can drive fans away. If rivalries become toxic and the league seems uneven, it's not only the players who suffer, it's the sport itself. Fans want honest competition and fair treatment, not personal attacks and favoritism. With the WNBA still silent, frustration only grows louder. The silence is causing a bigger problem than the original post. It leaves everyone wondering, is this a one-time error? Or is there a deeper issue in how the league manages its top stars?
And the WNBA is going after and lecturing Indiana Fever fans in this investigation? Are you trying to tell me Angel Reese is not going to get suspended for this, not going to get fined for this? Or is the WNBA too gutless to stand up against things like this, even if it is against a white woman?
All eyes are on the WNBA's silence. But what truly angers fans is the feeling of a double standard. The league has strict rules on hate speech and player behavior, yet this time, enforcement seems missing. The difference from past cases is impossible to overlook.
Angel Reese posted this on TikTok yesterday. Here we are, 24 hours later, and I have yet to see the WNBA launch an investigation. Well, that's strange. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Wasn't it last Thursday that the WNBA launched their No Space for Hate campaign?
The WNBA quickly rallied behind Brittany Griner within hours of her detention in Russia, releasing statements and launching social media campaigns in her support. That swift, firm response set a standard for how the league manages controversy, especially under intense scrutiny. So when Angel Reese's post blew up online and the league stayed silent, people took notice.
Sports fans are going to go after Brittany Griner over that. They're going to heckle her over that. I heard that yesterday and was like, are you kidding me? Fact, Brittany Griner got arrested in Russia for cannabis oil, which is illegal in Russia. You expect sports fans to not literally heckle her with that during a game? Have you ever been to a Raiders game, an Eagles game? You gotta be kidding me.
Fans claim that if any other player had shared this, fines or suspensions would have followed quickly. But Reese stays untouched, sparking rumors of favoritism. The irony is clear, especially from a league that frequently condemns hate. Some think the WNBA is shielding Reese due to her fame or the delicate racial issues involved.
Woo! Man, I gotta tell you, that was close. I thought we were going to get through a season without hearing anything stupid out of Sheryl Swoop's mouth, and anything that sounds rather interesting, something that you might choose to give some side eye to.
The Indiana Fever just dropped a league-shaking bombshell that sent shockwaves through the entire WNBA. In one bold stroke, they released not one, but two major rookie names from the team, igniting a frenzy across basketball circles. And as the dust barely began to settle, Sheryl Swoops, longtime president of the anti-Caitlin Clark coalition, re-emerged with the energy of a comeback tour. But this time around, her sights weren't locked solely on Caitlin Clark. She was coming for the entire Fever franchise.
And you have a black player that just got cut, and Sheryl Swoops is not happy about that.
What began as a routine roster adjustment spiraled into full-fledged league drama, packed with tension and headlines that practically wrote themselves. Just when we assumed Swoops had vanished into the void, she somehow pops back up out of nowhere. What's she saying now? And how is the Indiana Fever handling all this chaos? Drop your thoughts in the comments.
Call me nuts, but unfortunately for the old WNBA fandom and media, in her case, media and old players, unfortunately, in some cases, you do feel like there is something else lurking behind said opinions that may not be basketball related. Let's put it that way.
Let's kick things off with the roster cuts that turned heads. The Indiana Fever just made one of the boldest preseason decisions we've seen in years. Bree Hall, yes, that Bree Hall, the dynamic guard and two-time national champ from South Carolina, was cut before she could even hit the floor for real minutes. That's right, not 1 second of action in the opener against Washington. Barely any time against Brazil. And just like that, she was out. And if that felt like a shock to the system, brace yourself. Because the Fever weren't finished.
Bree Hall is now gone, as you know. And today it was announced that Yvonne Ejim has been waived by the Fever as well. Sophie Cunningham talked about that yesterday, saying you can latch on to another team, another place.
Just because you didn't make a roster doesn't mean you're out of the W forever.
Roughly 24 hours later, the team dropped another bomb. Yvonne Ejim, Gonzaga's scoring powerhouse and a player with enough heart to light up the entire Pacific Northwest, was cut too. Two rookies, each with standout college careers and genuine upside, were shown the door before they even had a chance to settle in. Barely a warm-up, and they were out, just like that. This is pro sports at its most ruthless. It's not always about talent. It's timing, system fit, and sometimes just cold roster math, where dreams collide with the business side of basketball.
So the Indiana Fever, as expected, have waived Yvonne Ejim. She's just not at the level that the Indiana Fever are hoping her to be at.
The Fever announced it directly. Thank you, Yvonne Ejim, who was the all-time leading scorer in Gonzaga history.
Naturally, the big question is, why these two? To grasp the sting, you have to look at the Fever's salary cap situation. Thanks to Katie Lou Sampson's oversized contract, which the Fever had to buy out in order to sign key vets, the team could only carry 11 players on the roster. Veterans like Natasha Howard, DeWanna Bonner, Sydney Colson, Bree Turner, Sophie Cunningham, Damaris Dantas, and recently re-signed Kelsey Mitchell all have guaranteed contracts for at least a year. Cutting them wouldn't free up space. It would just leave their salaries on the books. The only contracts the team could actually shed were those of rookies still on their original deals, Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Lexi Hull. And no team in their right mind would cut that trio, which means 10 of 11 spots were already locked in.
Man, it's hard, right? We all reached out. I think that they brought really good people in, great people into training camp this year. But just because you didn't make this spot, this is probably one of the harder rosters to make in the W this year. It doesn't mean you're out of the W, and you just got to keep ready, keep playing, keep grinding it out. And if it's hard to make the league. I know Sid and I, we were second rounders. We stuck. Her experience is a little bit different than mine, but just because you didn't make a roster doesn't mean you're out of the W forever.
In truth, all three rookies, including Michaela Timpson, who's been flashing real potential in training camp and preseason, were battling for just one available spot. And odds are, that spot is going to Timpson. The Fever need young forwards in the mix, and her speed, floor running ability, and elite defense make her a perfect fit. Fans are already calling her the steal of the draft, snagged at 19th overall when many had her projected comfortably inside the top 10.
Michaela Timpson is obviously at a certain level. She's a rim runner. She just obviously has a higher ceiling than Ejim at the moment, and this is maybe a hot take.
For fans of Hall and Ejim, this one stings on a deeper level. It wasn't just about stats or performance, it was the unforgiving collision of salary constraints, tight roster limits, and the relentless push toward a championship window. These cuts hit hard because they weren't just about players. They were about potential, about belief. And in a blink, two promising dreams were put on pause.
After all, we saw Cheryl Swoops in rare form, hating on Caitlin Clark all last year. Well, maybe she has figured out, hating on Clark, I've been told that's not really a great idea. Yada, yada, yada. So what other white girls can I tune up from the Indiana Fever?
Unsurprisingly, the backlash came fast, and front and center with a megaphone was none other than Cheryl Swoops. The second news broke about Bree Hall's cut, Swoops lit up like she'd been waiting all offseason for a moment just like this. Her return wasn't subtle. It was a full-blown verbal takedown.
Okay, example. The Washington Mystics Indiana Fever game. Because I know on social media, people were like, well, why aren't the starters in for the Mystics? They could win this game. And I was there, right? Because preseason is about, yes, you're going to play your starters. You're going to play your players. Typically, they don't even play that many minutes, right? Because you have so many players on your roster that you got to make roster cuts. So you're still trying to figure out who can fit what we're doing.
On the latest episode of the Women's Hoop Show, Swoops didn't just voice concern. She unleashed a one-woman verbal offensive, zeroing in on head coach Stephanie White. According to Swoops, White didn't just mismanage the rotations, she outright sabotaged them. Her question was sharp. Why was Bree Hall glued to the bench while players with less upside were getting the spotlight?
But I did have a question, though, with Indiana, right? Because even though the starters weren't in, like Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull they've been in the league for a while. You actually had players who, like Bree Hall, why wasn't she in that game per se? If you're still trying to figure out who's going to make the team, who you're going to cut. So I was a little confused with what Steph was doing.
If you're still deciding who to cut, Why wasn't Bree Hall even on the floor? She pressed. And if that jab wasn't sharp enough, the unspoken message rang even louder. This wasn't just about coaching strategy, it was about who gets grace, who's given a real shot, and who gets pushed aside before they've even had a chance. And if you thought Swoops would stop there, not a chance. She cranked the pressure higher, zeroing in on the two players who did benefit from White's rotation decisions, Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull. With pointed precision, Swoops didn't just question their roles, she dissected them. And the way she framed it? Let's just say the message echoed loud and clear across every corner of WNBA Twitter.
Ariafin. Okay. This is gonna be a spicy season, cause Kiki was like, "What, Sophie? Girl, don't come over here." Sophie was like,
"Already,
I was
game
here
one,
here for it." But the fact that that's a rookie, right?
I know
Kiki,
she did not back down,
but she just turned and laughed. She was like, "What? What did you say? What are we doing?"
And then came the line that made her angle crystal clear. With heavy sarcasm, Swoops remarked that maybe it was time to start tuning up the other white girls on the Fever, now that she'd been told to lay off Clark. That wasn't subtle. That wasn't shade. That was a spotlight and a narrative bomb detonated right in the center of the conversation.
My goodness, I mean, we've had 2 preseason games. 2! And we're back to it. We're back here. She's criticizing Stephanie White. I bet Cheryl Swoops hates that last name. Criticizing Stephanie White. And, of course, it relates to Lexi Hall and Sophie Cunningham. Ooh, I bet Cheryl Swoops hates her some Sophie Cunningham. You know she does.
Let's not forget, this isn't Swoops' first anti-Clark rodeo. Long before Caitlin Clark ever suited up in a WNBA jersey, Swoops was already raising eyebrows. She was one of the earliest, loudest voices to question nearly every facet of Clark's game. The records? Overhyped. The style? Too flashy. The swagger? Not earned. The leadership? Dubious. The age? The attitude? The media attention? Swoops scrutinized it all. Practically everything short of Clark's shoe size. She made it clear from the jump that she wasn't buying the hype. And now that Clark isn't just a top draft pick, but the face of the Indiana Fever and a global fan favorite, Swoops hasn't exactly softened her stance. On the contrary, she's expanded the battlefield. It's no longer just about Clark. Swoops has shifted her focus to the entire perimeter, calling out the system that elevated Clark and questioning the structure that surrounds her. From coaching decisions to roster selections, she's aiming broader, louder, and sharper than ever before.